Hello, everyone, and welcome back to EGAD headquarters, Toonkind at 12 FPS. I am your lovely host, Carmichael, also known as Mikey, back with a dearly beloved friend of mine. If you'll be so kind as to introduce yourself as co-host for the evening.
Hi, I'm dearly beloved friend of mine, or of Mikey's. Hi, it's Spiffiest T, or just Spiffy, or just them. I will be playing the role of Otto Hastings tonight on a lovely spooky Halloween game that's being recorded on August or September 29th. Ooh. No?
And today we are here with the Toonkind at 12 FPS. Let me grab the title again. At the Bard's Last Play, part Deux, Imposter Syndrome.
Impossible. Oh, and for added realism tonight, there are real ghosts in the VC, so please.
Let's not joke about that either.
Oh no.
It's okay. We'll do
Mikey, my dearest
it.
friend, beloved, friend of the animals, champion of the Pringle chip, would you care to introduce tonight's festivities?
I would be honored.
Oh,
Tonight, the title fades away to a lovely evening on Halloween. Yes, we are having a Halloween game early. Don't worry about the time shenanigans, they'll sort themselves out. The lights are up, children are out trick or treating, dressed in all kinds of fun costumes. Monsters are making fun, teens are pulling pranks or getting drunk. There's much fun to be had, and many parties to be hosted, much like the one being hosted at Ollie's Manor, deep in the, I believe it is Xerox Woods. I almost said a different word, and that would have ruined the mood. In the Xerox jungle, at Ollie's Manor, he is hosting, as I believe he would host regularly, a Halloween party. And allow me to pull up the description for the sake of the scene. His house is a rather large manor, hosting multiple floors. It is a grand place that one could imagine in the likes of the old Renaissance, where it is traditionally, presumably, hundreds of feet wide and long, and has just as much space within. Reasonably used compared to other billionaires. But for the sake of the party, it is actually being hosted on the. Allow me to give me a moment. On the topmost floor of the house, due to the fact that it is a far more open space and has less rooms to get lost in or find trouble in, knowing Ollie's penchant for picking up bewitched objects and baubles. Instead, we zoom in to the topmost floor of the manor, where ideally an attic should be, and there is, but it's locked off for the sake of festivities. The place is cleaned up, allowing much space for dancing, running, and all kinds of chatter and activities, decked out in orange, black, and bright purple decorations, typically of the vintage kind, set against a give me a moment. Set against a dark green ornate wallpaper with an elegant pattern all across. Dark oak floors are polished for the evening, though regularly tarnished by boots and shoes and paws of partygoers coming in or dancing about. And he even has a personal bar set up for ice cream floats, and for those that are of the age to have it, giggle juice. There is also the less popular but also age appropriate jiggle juice, but nobody's touched that yet. The only thing that hasn't been cleaned away and really remains in one part of this level of the house is a large toon statue of a man with a lack of feature to him. There are countless goers at the party in costumes of all kinds, ranging from the classic to the more unique. You can see traditional monsters such as Frankenstein's monster, Medusa, doctors, werewolves, and the like. And then other unique creatures, such as one dressed as a cockatrice, someone apparently just having a pumpkin over their gas mask, and in not at the party, but there at the party in spirit, sitting in his cage in EGAD HQ treehouse, is a little hamster in a Thor costume. But at the party itself, we fall to a familiar face, or so we think. Spiffy, would you like to introduce your lovely boy?
Well, lovely is a word for him. Uh,
I will call him lovely whether you like it or not. Punk.
fuck. Oh wait, we're not allowed to. There we go. I don't think they caught it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Take two. Click.
You can swear. No, family friendly. I would never say a word. Uh, so Otto is almost always the type to dress up at these sort of parties. Uh, while he's not exactly a socialite, he's surprisingly been around and been well acquainted with all sorts of lords and ladies, and frankly, quite a few others. How he got into those parties is a long story, and we don't have time for it. This party, however, was a more casual one, so he decided to have a little bit of fun with his costume. Before us stands Roguefort? It certainly looks like Roguefort. The chiseled features are there, the obvious googly eyes, and the uh, unique outfit, fitting only the finest hunter in the Feywild. That was Otto's costume. Why he decided this particular one is currently unknown. Right now, he is mingling at the party and pretty much mentioning to everyone that as soon as Roguefort gets here, make sure you only call Otto Roguefort, because he thinks it's going to be pretty funny. Currently, he's looking over at the drinks table, eyeing up the ice cream, but deciding he doesn't want to get a fill too much or stain his lovely thing. Instead, getting a cup of jiggle juice. It's not what you think it is, and I refuse to describe it further.
Allow me to make a roll real quick because I was going to make the roll while you were describing, but let's see. He gets a -1 to deception. Shockingly enough, he's good at the costuming. So allow me to roll a d3.
Oh boy.
Let me go ahead and check something real quick to make sure I have the correct response down. Which chat was the costume discussion in? Hang on. It's up here. Okay. All right. So back to the zone. All right, cool. Let me pull up a picture. Roguefort, having been formally invited to the party by his host and current employer, Ollie himself, is honored to be in attendance at a costume party. Which, yes, he has been told is a costume party. And for the sake of not wanting to humiliate himself and not wanting to be upstaged, he decided he would go for one of his finest uniforms. Allow me to pull up for a moment.
Oh dear.
But the figure we zoom in on doesn't look like Roguefort immediately. Instead, we find a young woman with black hair tied up in a traditional style, finished off with pink ribbon. She has a fine shade of blood red lipstick to her. She wears hakama, which is a dark red male kimono, and a huge cloak that she hangs on her shoulders. Her outfit is reminiscent of shirabushi. She also has a red iboshi cap, politely sitting on top of her head. However, as the figure turns, you can see, of course, that nutmeg tone, darker skin. You can see, of course, even for how sleek and elegant the eyes look, there's a bit of a googly quality to the pupils. And those finely painted eyebrows can only disguise so much. This is Roguefort's costume. Lady Eboshi from Princess Mononoke. Complete with the fact that he's allowed to have his weapon on display, which is really one of the few reasons he would dress that way. He's finally arrived at the party, having had to have it explained to him that it was not hosted on the main floor, as most parties are, but hosted at the top, which for a moment he considered just flying up there, but the character doesn't fly. That would break the immersion of the costume. So, walking up as elegantly as he can, or she can in this instance, she joins the crowd. It's an experience for one who has not attended such things before or seen such decorations before. Bats with great wide eyes, cats with wide yawning mouths full of unrealistically sharp teeth. All these vintage decorations and gnarled faces and gruesome costumes may have given him a different impression as to what the party actually was supposed to be. He, in fact, did need to have it explained to him when he arrived that no, it's not that they've actually invited monsters. It's just people are dressed up in costume. He's still, by and large, uncertain of it, as is seen by the way her eyes continue to scan the crowd here and there and watch for whatever movement looks realistic. But at the same time, she doesn't really get to enjoy parties like this. Her work always leaves her too busy. She's always out and about in the great outdoors or on some next assignment. There's never any downtime. And to have downtime to be invited to a party hosted by your employer, no less, and not be given any orders about it, it's nice to actually just dress how you want, sit back, relax, and just grab some of the giggle juice. In which case, I do need to politely roll him a con save, considering I assume the giggle juice is alcoholic. And alcohol requires con saves.
Oh, it sure does. Hopefully he does not get too sauced. Hopefully.
A
Yeah.
16 means that for this first class, the sips are elegant, and in a pleasant surprise, the lipstick doesn't smear.
Oh, thank
She
Christ.
got the outfit through. Now I'm going to roll her perception, while Roguefort question is mingling with the crowd. Perception is thankfully +8. On a 14, I assume that the other Roguefort is not being stealthy.
Do you think Otto has the capacity for stealth? Honest
What
question.
what's Otto doing at the moment?
Currently, he is standing, trying to do his best Roguefort pose. Um, he fully immersing himself in the character is sitting down on some random table, like menacing random passers-by with his googly eyes. It all looks very theatric and overacted, but it's hard not to describe him as a spitting image. To say the least, he is not being stealthy. You see, well, the lady sees someone who she might happen to recognize.
Unfortunately, taking the role from earlier for the sake of the bit, she does not. Having politely found a place where the crowd isn't too thick to be able to enjoy her drink, she had mostly been scanning the crowd to see the scope of others' costumes and hope that hers at least looked the most authentic and close to form. That is the point, after all. But then there's a cape, tossed over the shoulder in a specific manner that stops her in her tracks, and the drink leaves her lips. There's the licorice twist hair, which her wig at the moment is concealing. There's that big old beret, which she has not brought to the occasion because that doesn't fit the costume. But it appears to be decorated in the same way, from having the EGAD card to the button to the cinnamon sticks to the big old feather. And as the mysterious figure turns, because one of the other partygoers has approached Roguefort and is happily engaging in conversation, going along with the bit, she sees the googly eyes. She sees the clawed gloves acting as insectoid hands. And as good as her costuming and disguise work is, her own insectoid claws tighten on the glass. Her regular pupils slowly shrink and shake. And I need to roll her a wisdom save against a bad flashback.
I did say it was gonna be medium angst, folks. Strap in. That's a 7.
Only for her, the scene changes. It's another party, beautifully bedecked in deep shades of red and green. It is a party of the Winter Court, one that he was invited to. And yet, there, mingling with the guests with a terrible accent put on, is someone that looks just like him, boasting and bragging about his deeds, while casually holding the gun on the wrong shoulder. This figure would, of course, turn out to be an imposter, meant to slander his good name and to tarnish his reputation in the Winter Court's presence. This was not tolerable, especially seeing as the assailant was armed. It didn't go well. And of course, one of the dead giveaways was the fact that the mouth wasn't quite as absent as it's supposed to be. And instead, the Roguefort imposter looks more like a Roguefort Muppet imposter for having a Muppet mouth and having been a Muppet born underneath. And Roguefort, well, he's in denial about the fact he has strings, but he figures he doesn't. The colors fall back to the party, and it's just this silly little Roguefort costume with, I assume, the exaggerated French accents.
I'll try my best, Your Honor, but yes, Otto is. This is gonna be a nightmare because I did not plan for this, but Otto, in his Bostonian ass, Charlie Day ass voice, is trying his best to be French. Before I do any voice acting, I would like to apologize to the
No,
entire.
the point is
Well,
for a bit. The point is for a bit. You don't have to apologize to me. I came into this knowing.
I was gonna apologize to the entire Kingdom of France, but that's fair.
France doesn't deserve an apology. Fuck France.
Good point. As I believe one of the partygoers decides to approach Roguefort. Uh, to what do I owe the pleasure?
Good evening. And this appears to be the large Frankenstein's monster, who appears to have gotten himself a sizable bowl of the ice cream. Bastard.
Oh, I love your costume, good sir. Very good job on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was going to compliment yours. Very convincing.
The Roguefort puts up a little glove-clawed hand and just winks with a shush. Oh, come on. I thought I wanted to do just a little bit of fun for this night. Loosen up, yeah?
You say that, and yet you do not touch the ice cream bar.
I don't want to loosen up too much. Besides,
He
let...
slowly holds up a smaller bowl of ice cream he grabbed for him.
he looks at it. What flavor is it?
It appears he has grabbed the Neapolitan.
Okay, I was about to ask if it was pistachios because I have a... It's a whole
No,
thing.
no pistachios. It's just there's Neapolitan.
It's a whole thing.
And it has a banana on it too. A banana,
Uh,
a cherry, and there's a little cup of syrup next to it that it's more that he's kind of in a very small plate with the bowl and the cup of syrup. Just holds it toward him.
uh,
Tempted.
the googly eyes shake, annoyed. Come on, I can't be eating in this thing. I mean, seriously, it doesn't have a mouth, basically.
Oh, terrible tragedy. I guess it's just going to melt then. And he's just gonna set it next to him.
You wound my heart so. He looks longingly at the ice cream.
And it sits there, glistening in all those lovely Halloween lights. And you can, of course, see nearby on this ice cream bar that there is indeed number of decorations and toppings you could use. There's sprinkles. There's at least 5 different syrups, one of which you do not recognize.
Oh, the mystery syrup. It entices him, but he was here for one particular three particular reasons. One, to actually have fun. Despite his fun having nature, his past month or so has been touch and go at moments.
There is a moment where the screen for the audience flashes over to him fighting a plethora of half snake, half humanoid people. There is
Late,
ink and there is blood. The screen flashes back to the party.
later in that very same week, we see a concerningly tall figure with just a real ass gun stalking Otto. Later, we see the two hugging. Yes,
And
Otto. How do I explain this?
Otto's been through some shit.
Otto's had a month. That was his first reason to relax from the month having. His second reason was to, frankly, support EGAD. It had done him a lot of good, and, well, he thought it'd be nice to actually show up to one of these things. He missed Ollie's bingo night, and he never lived that down in his own mind. The third, and most important, he wanted to pull a fast one on Roguefort. Roguefort, after we cut back to him clutching him, and Otto forgets that, Roguefort is a very helpful and kind person in Otto's life who does not know how to relax in most cases. And frankly, Otto can't really blame the guy. He doesn't know a lot, but the parts he does know aren't good. So, in Otto's uh, less than sober costuming decision, started planning an elaborate Roguefort costume. No expenses were paid. The goal of this, of course, was for a one off gag. He wants to do a joke on Roguefort, assuming he comes, and he just prays that he gets the chance to do the setup. We find ourselves now, him longingly staring at the ice cream, and
It hasn't melted at all. It gleams the Halloween lights.
you could see him gritting his teeth under the strange paint mask thing that
I assumed it was
conceals.
like a mesh hood, like the kind people
Yeah,
wear when they wear the green suits.
yeah, little mesh thing. Uh,
Also, I would tell you to lighten up on the act a bit. A few of the more feminine partygoers have been giving you looks. I would avoid association if I were you. Just say.
I need to roll an insight check on Otto to see if he understands what that meant, because I don't think he does. He does not know what that meant. I rolled a 7. Uh, Still, Mikkel is a good friend of Otto's, so he'll not. Listen, it'll be worth it for the punchline. I'll lay off the schmoozing, I guess, but just trust me on this.
Schmoozing.
Schmoozing. You never did schmoozing?
I've never heard the term.
Oh,
However,
it's like, how do I put this? It's like,
if it is similar to being smooth, and smoothing is a term, I do know that much, then yes, you need to be less smooth. You are winning too many people over.
is it like an equal split or?
He does not answer. He
All
takes
right.
his big old ice cream bowl and he just gives him a playful little look. I do hope you enjoy your night, Mr. Roguefort.
Oh, please. Just Roguefort is enough. And he gives a just
Height, roll a check.
clawed wave.
So I'm rolling a strength saving throw, but not for the reason you think.
Is it for the ice cream?
No,
Well, it's not for the reason I think.
it's to resist breaking a glass.
Oh boy.
He succeeds, but as he's holding on to it, even with what he's wearing, there is the silent, near unnoticeable scrape of claws etching lines into old antique glass. And Lady Eboshi recomposes herself. She readjusts her grip so that the marks on the glass aren't visible. And after downing the entire glass in one go, decides to give it a refill and not touch it yet, and decides to stealthily make her way through the crowd toward the would-be hunter.
Of course, Otto not only doesn't hear the sound since he has quite a bit of tinnitus for reasons.
Nobody would hear it, let's be honest.
Otto is sitting and attempting to play up the character as much as he can. Uh, he brought props. Not only did he fashion himself the very sword that he had gifted, well, gifted to Roguefort, he also had the notes. Many times, Otto had found Roguefort just full nose into, well, Hunter's notes. He was. Otto doesn't really get jealous, but Otto couldn't help but admire the amount of work the man put in. He'd never really seen him not working, aside from a small party they attended earlier. That worried him. Of course, it worried him, but he had to play the character. So, he takes out several pages of surprisingly well forged monster notes. Uh how how noticeable is Roguefort's personal calligraphy?
Firstly, that's implying you live long enough to see it.
Fantastic.
He
Is it
tends to keep it locked up in journals, usually bound in leather and tied by fine threads and ribbons.
uh do you believe that Otto would have or would have the ability to find that?
It would be on his person, and he likely would have caught a glimpse of them on that particular hunting.
Yeah, he sure did try to forge Otto's writing. Surprisingly good, given the fact that Otto is
You keep saying
confusing.
Otto instead of Roguefort.
There's gonna be a lot of that tonight, let's be honest.
It's okay. I do understand. It's okay. Also, I apologize both for you and for those that who could be listening to this. I do have the if there's barking in the background, it's our dog. It's our dog.
It's a werewolf in the background of the scene, don't worry about it.
It's the sweetest werewolf you ever could see.
Who's a
Yes,
good
it
boy? Who's a good boy?
is.
Dooba.
She's not in here, but I for some reason I felt like anyway, in character, in character. So, would you do me a favor and roll a perception check to see if you see the lovely, striking lady approaching?
Oh, you know I have. You know I got that 0 on it. Ooh, that's a 16 somehow.
So, have you ever watched Princess Mononoke?
I have, but it was quite a long time ago. Please describe.
Well, I have described her before, and unfortunately, I would need to this page that I found for her does not have the outfit with the red cap, but have Lady Iboshi.
Yes, I'm well aware of who she is, and I do remember the red cap. It is
That
quite
is also for
striking.
the others. But there is most of the crowd is distinct in how good or bad their costumes are. Thank you for that. But this one does step above most of them. Not all of them, mind you, but most. There is an authenticity to how everything is sewn and organized. A clear amount of care and historical research was put in to bring it as close to the outfit as possible. Everything is polished and painted and even scuffed to look like it's realistically been in battle. And of course, no amount of polish can clean out every scar on a helmet. And there's even, of course, the oddly realistic looking hunting rifle. You might need to roll a second perception check on that.
I feel like Otto's. I'm not gonna say he's been around guns enough, but yeah, that's a natural 20. That's a gun.
That's a gun. That's a fucking gun.
It's a gun.
Thankfully, it's being held with the same cool confidence as one would carry a prop or a very real firearm. It's not in the way. And she approaches with this calm, cool elegance and asks, "Allow me to take a sip of water because allergies are hell in the throat at the moment. Excuse me."
It's okay. We can cut to commercial.
I see someone's decided to bring their work to the party.
Uh, Roguefort looks up and genuinely just takes a second to admire the costuming. Like, this is whoever this person was, likely a woman, because Otto is a just a little bit like that. Uh, just has to appreciate the craftsmanship.
Hmm.
Hmm. I suppose you could say that, yes.
You know, parties are meant to be places where you leave work out. And she reaches her free hand over and politely tucks down the papers before circling around Roguefort toward the ice cream bowl. Are you having this, by the way?
Eh, Not at all. I'd eaten before this.
Hmm.
And I'm not one to trust giveaways.
And she would glance the bowl over before taking the spoon, politely cutting a small piece of the banana and the ice cream, and just having a spoon for herself. Hmm, you really should. It's quite good. And then she puts the spoon back.
I assume you are here to ask me of something?
Yes, I'm afraid it's actually a matter of great significance as to the safety of this party. I was hoping you could come with me to discuss it in private.
Uh, can
After all, you are the esteemed Hunter Roguefort, are you not? Surely you'll be interested in protecting the party you've been invited to.
uh I think Otto takes 0 on this roll. Um Even if Otto could tell that this person was doing something a little shady. She does have a gun. He needs to stay dedicated to this bit. And if he has to say, "Oh, hey, I'm Otto Hastings," no, I'm not the hunter. Please go
Ow,
elsewhere.
ow, bruised rib.
Do not touch the rib.
No, it's not a touch thing. It's a muscle that you know how sometimes the muscles in your chest will flex when you laugh? It's one of those that got bruised.
Oh, dear honey. Okay, I will be less funny throughout this entire
No, no,
session.
you can be funny, I just can't be loud.
No, I will never be funny. Not in my entire life.
Oh
Uh,
god, yeah, perfect for the Roguefort role.
Roguefort has never been funny.
Not by choice.
I just let me write down something real quick into our DMs.
Sure.
Roguefort and Otto do stand-up comedy. That's for later. Uh, Otto realizes that he needs to dedicate to the bit, or the bit will be entirely ruined. So he goes, sorts his papers, puts them flat, bags them in his custom made bag just for this. No expenses spared. I suppose if it was related to keeping this party at its safest, I could make the time for it.
If you would follow me then. And she would nod her head toward one of the secondary rooms aside,
Hmm.
and she would lead the way.
Roguefort would let out a bit of a deep breath, trying to remain in character. If Otto is honest, one of his weaknesses, okay, one of his many, many, many weaknesses was nice looking people, particularly women. And this person looked nice. She looked like she's capable and could probably shoot him. Otto stood up. Roguefort stood up and followed the lady to her secret room.
And I'm going to assume the room off to the side is. We're going to say, for the sake of the bit, it's a small study. There's not just one study per house, of course. There can be multiple, especially considering this house is, to say it in French terms, fucking massive. So there's, of course, desk, there's books, there are bookshelves, there's a globe sitting in a corner, and of course she steps in and turns toward the window nearby and waits. Just waits for him to close the door.
He does so, leaning on it as it clicks.
I believe someone may have infiltrated this party, Mr. Roguefort.
Would that be so?
With what intentions I do not know. But what I do know is one does not duplicate who they do lightly. I fear a doppelganger or changeling may be responsible, and what plans they may have for the party I can only imagine.
Uh, do you have a
You understand the threat of such creatures,
Please,
don't you?
you need to ask me that? Yes, I'm fully aware of the danger they can cause. Especially one with less than good intentions at heart. So,
Wonderful.
I will ask, do you have a suspect in mind?
I do. She's going to turn and casually point the rifle at you. If you would be a dear and kindly put down your bogus weapons, that would be wonderful.
Otto? isn't sure what to do, which
Staring
is
down the barrel of a very real gun.
a common thing for him. The gun thing, not knowing what to do. He plenty of times knows what to do. The gun thing is it happens consistently. No, right now he had a few options. He could genuinely play along. He could break character, or he could attempt to do some Roguefort nonsense, which
Oh no.
he doesn't like his chances. He also doesn't have wings or an extra set of arms. I mean, Roguefort's so cool. He couldn't do that. No. So instead, he takes out his, I believe it was a moon touch rapier or something along those lines. We'll call it that for the.
It was a +1 rapier,
Yeah.
and you know next to nothing else about it.
Uh,
Speaking of which, I need to pull up the item's description while you're doing that.
sure thing. Uh,
In case.
just in case. Otto puts his hands up as Roguefort. Do you honestly suspect me?
I do.
Hmm.
For starters, one can tell that the secondary arms you have attached are puppeteer arms. They can see the strings attached to your main arms quite clearly. And she points to said near invisible strings with her gun.
Could be a cast. I could have
Two,
injured both arms and needed something to hold them up.
the jointing on the legs is also wrong, and very clearly makes it look like humanoid legs sitting in exoskeleton.
Simply the pants. They do not fit.
Her head tilts. You can see the way that the harvest moon outside gleams over her helmet, the shoulders of her cape, and the fine metal of this handcrafted hunting rifle. You didn't really try very hard, did you?
Excuse you?
It would be clear to anyone with any semblance of experience dealing in doppelgangers and duplicates that this costume is clearly just that. The beret is too flat. The cape hangs too heavy. The fabric needs to be light and airy. And this painted turtle shell for the shell on the back? Really?
He tilts his head in a way that is familiar. For a second, may just be a trick of the light, you can swear he does it so quick it kind of blurs together. I see that I am caught red-handed, then. Well, I shall put away my weapon. What shall happen to me?
Simple. If you tell me everything you know and who sent you to the party to infiltrate as Roguefort, perhaps you'll live. And she tilts her head with a smile.
Otto thinks for a moment.
You may not live with everything attached, but it'll certainly be enough that you can at least maintain part of the costume for the party.
Otto's been shot by a gun before. If things do go awry in here, and they probably will, knowing his inability to come up with shit on the spot, he should be able to take at least a shot before, anything too bad happens, and it'll alert some of the best and finest in EGAD. He'll be fine. And he's curious. He feels a strange familiarity from this woman that it
Roll me an insight check, by the way, would you?
I would love to do so. Plus 1. 15.
You can at least tell this is indeed a costume. It's very well made, but there is something to the figure underneath that strikes us off for the figure of Lady Eboshi. It's the way the gun is held. The fingers are slightly different than the actual character would. See, Lady Eboshi is, of course, a human character, and she looks human. But the way the gun is held by these hands, the hand that is closest to the trigger, the fingers are bunched up two by two, with the thumb being separate, of course. So two fingers are bunched together, and then two more fingers are bunched together, which is an odd choice for hand behavior. And there's something to her eyes that just feels the eyes, and you actually notice the smile. The smile looks unrealistic. Something's off to this image.
For a moment, Otto considers the possibilities. For one, just who this person reminded them of. Uh, Hard to say. For some reason, he wanted to say the mother that he never really had, but that was stupid, and a back of the head thought which was quickly jested away.
You keep on making parental comments, I swear to God. Continue,
I
continue.
don't know what you're talking about. The second thought was, is this the doppelganger? They seem to know a lot about Roguefort, and they seem to be doing a decent job of hiding their true intentions. Hell, they brought a real gun to the party. He was concerned and thought for a moment if he didn't play along, if he just pretended to be Otto, that's all it would be. Be someone for pretending, changing into the next shape. There were too many possibilities and not enough time to answer before he was putting a fake rapier down and nothing else. He didn't make any more props than that. He was too late in the day.
And she notices that and glances and goes, You didn't make a gun?
I didn't think he would bring one here. He's. Whatever.
Well, that can't be all you have.
It is. The, this wasn't for what you think it is. I'm not here to cause any trouble, really.
And she steps closer and you feel the barrel press into your chest. Really? Because it looks to me like someone is trying to imitate a highly esteemed hunter and infiltrate a party hosted by one that has currently employed him.
As you are
That is a
dissecting,
steep insult
as you
to
are
their guest.
dissecting this testimony from him,
Mm-hmm.
he's crying. It's subtle since he's wearing the mesh suit, but he's been brought to tears for reasons you can't be sure of. Just calm down. You don't need to do anything reckless. I swear it was just for a simple joke.
I'm going to roll her an insight real quick, both for the statement and for the costume. So insight is a +2. Thankfully, he gets a +2. You motherfucker.
Would you like to read out what you rolled?
For the class,
For the
that's a
class.
4.
That's a 4.
The barrel presses just a little tighter. That's not a good enough excuse.
Is it not? I didn't want to cause trouble. I swear, I wanted to get back at him. Just everything he had done, I just I wanted to give him a moment of shock and then just a laugh. The only times I've seen him laugh is when I'm making an ass of myself.
You feel the gun loosen and fall away from your chest.
I don't know. It was a dumb gag. I didn't even really know what line I was gonna say. I was gonna say one of us has to change, but then what if he wore a costume? If he wears a costume, he's probably already showing up in the door, and now I can't go back out there. I
You see one of the hands lift as the gun lowers, and the helmet is removed. The wig loosens only slightly, and you see falling down a single red. You think a dreadlock? You'd have to roll an insight check
uh,
or perception, one of the two.
actually, how dark is it in this room?
It is lit by the moon. There is part of a window.
Then that's if I'm not mistaken, that's dim light, baby.
Yeah.
Uh, for those not in the know, dim light causes disadvantage, if I'm not mistaken, uh, on on perception checks. You know, the thing we need to roll. First one, that's a 10. That is a 10.
Why did you say 10 twice? The second one's a 19.
Because it's a 10 again, because it's disadvantage.
Ah.
You stupid little man.
It looks like a red dreadlock. You're not sure.
I just. Whatever. Just. I have gold if you need it. I'm unsure your intentions. You're holding the gun with. What? You're doing some kind of. I don't know. It looks like you're doing a Vulcan salute on the gun. It's just. You're
Otto?
not exactly a spotless costume yourself.
Otto?
You've seen Otto at various points of injured. You've seen him lose his color and, frankly, much worse. Otto lowers his hands, and from behind the costume, white ink starts to just drip down. He is
I-
sweating.
Is is that a normal? Are you? Wait. And he reaches up and pulls off the wig, and you see in the moonlight a bunch of red licorice twists. Wait a minute. Wait a moment. Wait. What is going on here? Why are you dressed like me? What is this about the joke?
His mouth, or lack thereof, with the suit is just wide open. He doesn't want to say it, he doesn't want to explain himself. Hell, now considering what he's put his coworker through, he's unsure if he even wants to confess. He has to say something. There's a gun, no longer pointed at him at least. There's an
No, it's
improvement.
pointed at the ground. It is lowered. It is he has left cautious interrogation mode. He has entered concerned mode.
That's an improvement.
You can even see the little flutter under the cape where presumably the wings are disguised.
Sorry, is this. He throws off the beret and throws off the wig. He pulls down the mess chute, and it is a teary eyed, very red, blushing, due to the tears, sort of ink drained Otto. He looks sickly, if you had to guess, though likely this was just a reaction of sorts. How. Uh, should I explain myself first, or I mean, I don't know what to say really that I haven't already said. That um,
He snaps his claws, and while most of the costuming was the clothing part at least was practical effect, there's no good way to hide googly eyes and a lack of a mouth. So it had to magically glamour his face to look pretty. But he wasn't gonna make himself white for the sake of a costume. Fuck that.
heyo.
So he just snaps, and it sounds like the snap of claws rather than the snap of fingers, as the human hands and the human face and the pretty lipstick and the small nose and those keen, clever eyes fade away to the familiar googly eyes that now look very concerned. And you would need insight for the other thing in them still, as he's just looking over the scene, and he's looking conflicted on whether to approach or not.
I mean, I guess I can eat the ice cream now. That was my main worry. You have no idea. I was trying to play you, and it was genuinely so hard. Like I don't. When
I
I'm
mean,
given.
you were doing an excellent job. You have the
No,
most
come
perfect
on. Are
timing.
you kidding me, Roguefort? I mean, when I'm given a script, I can do the sort of work that I do, but you know how to act as yourself. I don't know how to act as you. I was barely a cheap knockoff. I was a
Perception check.
sure. Again, it is disadvantage. Uh, that is a 19 and a natural 20. Oh no, it's only one. No, hold on. I fucked it up. We're good. Okay, there we go. It's an 11. We're good. We're good. We're good.
I mean, I would take the earlier rolls anyway. When you say you know how to act like yourself, you see for a moment the claws tighten on the gun, but you don't see
Listen,
anything else.
I Otto doesn't believe that he would ever be harmed by Roguefort, but he puts his hands up. Listen, it's not. I just. I don't know. Mikolai thought I was doing a decent job. People seem to get the joke. Some people were genuinely. Apparently, I can do your voice just okay.
You were doing it just fine, and the costume is not that bad.
Uh, Otto, just in a fully only thing that a tune could do, grabs the front of his shirt and pulls it off and throws it to the right, and the entire costume just goes. The entire thing. Pants,
He just
shoes.
glances to that confused because he's not used to Toons doing
No,
that.
tunes do that all the time.
Like he's glancing back and forth with a little jingly sound to his head, like, huh? Huh? Just clatter, 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 just the googly eyes.
What stands before you is a Otto without his hat and without the loot. He is shocked, panicked, deer cotton headlights, and still trying to figure out how to explain himself.
Roguefort is, of course, he's resetting the gun to his back again, and for some reason pats the hilt of the sword, but he steps closer, but he doesn't step as close to Otto as he usually does. That is at least one thing that's noted. He sort of similar to in the woods when Otto had collapsed on the ground and Roguefort was uncertain whether to actually touch him or not. It's a similar thing to that. He could get closer, and it looks like from the way the claws reach, he almost reaches out to touch, but for some reason holds himself back from it.
Otto gets why. He doesn't blame him.
Look, you
Otto,
explain the joke. I know comedians say that kills the joke. Just explain the joke first, and then we can sit down and we can talk. I should not have pointed the gun at you. I should not have cornered you in the room.
he puts a hand up. Just he lets out a sigh, crouches down, puts a hand to steady himself and leans against the door.
Uh,
So when you go to a costume party,
mm-hmm.
one of the jokes you can do is, I guess one of us has to change because you can't show up to a costume party if you're wearing the same thing. For some reason, I thought that when you would be invited to one of these parties, you would just dress up all fancy, and so I would have said, well, clearly one of us has to change. And I would have done it in my voice, and I thought you were going to react differently. I thought you were going to be shocked, and then I was going to respond in your voice, and then you'd be like, what? And then I would have said, in my dumb, stupid, and he's about to cuss himself out. He stops himself.
I would have dressed all fancy, but I heard from Monsieur Ollie that you also wear costumes of characters that you like and creatures that you like to these parties, and I have not been invited to one before. I think it would be fun to dress as a character I liked from a recent piece that the small boy showed me. Mad Lad, that's his name.
Is he doing well? Yeah, he's doing.
He's doing fine. He apparently has been going back and forth stealing sweets for a small hamster in his room. And he says that with the air of question mark. But
First,
it's beside the point. It's beside the point.
it's adjacent to the point.
It is adjacent to the point. But the point was, I thought I could try and do a character I do not see very often in terms of any kind of costuming, and I thought it would be an interesting experiment since she is not really wearing a dress, and she does have a very nice outfit to pull off, and this cape is very comfy, and he actually does adjust it around himself like a big blanket. But I look, you were trying to do a bit. You didn't do anything wrong. I shouldn't have reacted the way I did. I,
Uh, Before he tries to explain himself, just says probably one of the more simpler sentences he's constructed. It's a repeat thing.
he doesn't immediately answer. You can either roll perception or insight, one of the two.
Take an insight, since, you know, the funny +1. That's a 7.
I mean, the DC would have been a 10, but since you missed it only by a few points, you can tell there's a nervousness to it, but you can't explain how or why.
I,
Maybe he's just nervous that he threatened you? Question mark.
I would be too. It doesn't need explanation, obviously. I don't really have a right to
Oh,
know.
yes, it does. You do not point your weapons at friends like that.
Well, you.
That's also the one of the first times you've heard him call you a friend, by the way.
Yeah, Otto is about to counteract with his own course of logic, saying, no, I wasn't a friend. I was just some sap in a costume. You had no idea it was me. And then. Friend? I thought you didn't do friends. You said so yourself.
Did I say that out loud? And you can see the way that since he's taken the helmet and the wig off, you can see the way the long ears just kind of twitch and tuck a little like, shit, did I leave my mouth?
At quite a few junctures, yeah. Or junctures. Junction? Pointless as it is to say, uh, I thought after that, well, the hunt that we did, and especially after the little party we had for, Mac's daughter, I don't know, I thought you wanted to see me as a coworker. I respect you a lot, but it, I don't think I really deserve the. I'm not saying I
Oh,
shouldn't.
I thought you were about to say we shouldn't be friends. I was about to be sad. And
God,
you
no.
can see you can see the way the ears actually fall down and he visibly relaxes.
No, no. would love to be friends with you. It's just I, I'm not very tuned into the uh, face side of things, the court side of
Oh,
things.
no, you don't
But
need to be tuned into the face side of things. It is a me thing. It is not a my kind thing. It is a me thing.
right, the your thing then. You seem to
My
get worried about these sort of things, and I'm not a smart guy, but I remember you not really understanding how hugs work, and I know you keep yourself in a certain upper crust manner. Does that make
You
sense?
say upper crust and you don't even need the perception check. He just grimaces with a look that is very much not upper class.
He puts his hands up. Listen, I call it like it is. I just I'm I'm not saying you're like too high class for me or nothing. Just I don't really think you should be associating with.
I'm going to shut you up courteously,
N-
politely.
No, seriously. I mean, EGAD itself is fine, but me particularly, it's
Selen!
uh. You have never seen Otto stand or sit at attention. He is your full attention. Congratulations.
Hang on, let me adjust the mic so it doesn't cut out. I notice it's blipping a bit. Now is not the time. Look, I'm going to tell you something right now, and it is going to sound counterintuitive, but I say it with good reason. Do not put me on a pedestal. I do not belong on a pedestal. I am not a pedestal man. I am not statuesque. I I'm just I am a fragile little man made of hard candy who dresses very fancy, very nice for his position, and does a lot of high class work. But it does not make me high class. I am a hunter, and hunters need to know how to adapt to situations and blend into their environments. Even if it means blending in with upper and lower crust, it does not make them upper or lower crust. And truly, if it were not for the training I received or the mentorship of my mom, and he gets a look at that, that would need an insight check.
Yeah, we're gonna immediately roll that because what is Otto if a curious bitch? That's another 7. If I get one,
Curiosity apparently is not paying off.
if I get one more, I'll get a jackpot.
Hey, if you get one more, I'll just give you a success on something else. Ding ding
Ding,
ding 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 ding
ding,
ding.
ding.
If it were not for that, I would probably not have any social skill. I would stay in the woods. Avoiding most, I would probably hardly be able to speak, except to my little darlings. And as he moves one of his arms, you can see under the cloak, having been remaining ethereal and out of sight, you do actually see a
Dinner
few of the
critters.
critters.
Yay.
And you actually see what page did I have his swarm written on? Did I lose it when the page restarted? I hope not.
Do I need to call?
Oh god, I did, didn't I? Hang on,
Did you
please tell
lose a
me it's
bunch of fucking DMV work?
no, I had it in a notepad, but there was a moment on a sunny day earlier where we lost power for some reason for like
No.
5 seconds, and then it came back again. I don't know how. It was crisp and sunny. The weather was nice. It wasn't even cold or hot. Then it just blip and then blip back. And I had his swarm custom tailored to region and everything. But you do see a few you actually see the little white strappy and a few Rasby just sitting there, semi ethereal, semi visible, semi not. It's the ethereal swarm. They're not there, but you can see their little magical silhouettes and the googly eyes staring from the dark. And their pupils do actually reflect the moonlight like cats, so that is a little funky.
Otto's seen enough weird cats to know that means they like you.
Aw.
Eh,
Rasby.
yeah. I always forget we have an audience for these sorts of things. How's the, um, you call him a horde, right? Or something?
The swarm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
swarm. Is the swarm been good?
The swarm is fine. They are handling the atmosphere very nicely, considering they are very used to extreme heat and extreme cold. So it being so, what is the word in common?
Peachy?
No, peaches are not in bloom at the moment. Let's try to
Blink.
think.
Blink. Otto remembers to jot down, teach idioms and euphemisms.
Chilled. It is chilled outside. Chili, like chili pepper. It is chilly outside, and they quite like it when it is chilly out. Isn't that right, little darling? So, and he reaches down and he scratches one of their little strawberry cheeks with a claw, and you can see the way the white strap. He just sort of kicks one of the legs as she's being scratched.
Well, that's
One of
just wonderful.
the leaves. And then he reaches into the costume and he pulls up a handkerchief and he actually does step forward and he reaches up to dab at the tears.
You just hand me the handkerchief. You don't need to be all.
No, I caused this. I get to clean it up. It is my responsibility.
It's fine. I'm
And he's
pretty.
already dabbing at them. One of the clawed hands is holding the other cheek very lightly and carefully, you note, as if afraid to break something. While the other's just dabbing at your little, I assume, watercolor tears.
Correct. It stains through like cheap paper.
I
Uh,
want you to roll me something.
okay.
And you get to choose. You can roll me one of three things: insight, perception, or arcana.
Oh, Arcana. Yeah, let's go with that. Oh, that's
Is
sure. It's not a 7. It's absolutely a natural 1, though.
you don't notice a goddamn thing.
Yeah, of course I don't know. I wouldn't know those things. Uh,
Maybe it's just the way the moonlight makes him look. It's very nice.
yeah. He tries to stay as still as possible, but also in the meantime tries to use his hands to look around his pockets, trying to find his hat, or more
I'm
specifically, his hammer space.
I am terribly sorry I frightened you. I Whenever I see another dressed as myself, it has never been for a joke or a jest. It has always been with some evil motive or some terrible crime in mind, and confrontations never gone well.
Um,
I was afraid that, like that pitmaster had, that perhaps someone had recognized me here and sent someone to infiltrate the party and do something with my graces involving this business.
the idea of the pitmaster, or at least his cohorts sending someone, did not cross Otto's mind. Um, for the night, he actually had forgotten most of what happened, but he looks down at his form, sees his color dripping, and just breathes.
How
He's
do I
with.
clean that, by the way? I am I'm not used to helping someone contain color. He just tilts his head at that. He's trying to maintain a sympathetic look, but it's also a look of why the fuck are you leaking? Do you need toilet paper? Are you okay?
No, no, this is a me thing. Tunes come in all, different sizes, varieties. Our biology is
Hmm.
stupid, frankly. But one thing that folks like me have are sketch issues. Uh,
Ah, like paint issues.
uh, yeah, actually. Hold on. He reaches in his pockets. finally pulls out his little hat, little feather, reaches into it, and I get to roll hammer space to get a nat 1 immediately. Oh, hold on. Gotta roll it correctly. That's a 20. Hold on. I'm really good at this. Professional Dungeon Dragon player, by the way. That's a 5. We're fine. Uh, you see Otto pull out, um, for the sake of convenience, he just pulls out 3 or so buckets of paint and a brush.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't really asked my dad or even my father why exactly I turned out like this, but it's not really a big thing. I frankly I live fine without it, but I don't like looking. He doesn't want to say the word, but eventually it crawls from the back of his mouth. Half baked, I guess. Like I was, you know, left in the oven for a little too long.
I mean, you do not look half-baked to me.
Come on.
It tends to be how my colors hold in. He says that, but you look at him and his art style doesn't look remotely like yours. You don't know why the fuck he's saying that.
It's,
He looks 3D. He looks like a 3D polygonal, bug snack model.
that's flattering, but it's not exactly the same thing, is it? I'm sure your
Yes, it is.
tastes are.
Watch.
Eh?
He reaches up and he snaps the claws again. And under the moonlight, you watch the 3D shapes deconstruct. Now, I'm going to preface this does not show the full scope of Roguefort's true form. He's just showing his art style. But you watch as 3D becomes 2D and then almost becomes 1D. Almost. The dimensions are lost and the colors fade and splatter and splash here and there. His lines grow unkempt and messy. He has lines, by the way, actually. And his hair, which normally looks very sleek and smooth and bouncy and well animated, does look bouncy again, but it looks a little bit wilder in this way. And would you like me to above board say what his art style actually is based on?
Absolutely.
You know the illustrator for the Roald Dahl books,
Oh,
Quentin Blake?
very well aware.
It is watercolor. It is pen and pencil. There are a lot of where shadows should be, there's white. His colors bleed in and out of lines. His hair is lines and color in batches. And his outfit as well is messily drawn. And his googly eyes, where normally the pupils are wide and big, they just look like little pinpricks now. The white of the eyes are still big and round, but the pupils are just little pencil pinpricks. And then the shadows are darkened in by the watercolor only by means of the moonlight. And you actually do see that art style transition to the swarm as they also become goofily hand painted and watercolor and messy.
Otto doesn't want to feel anything about this. He doesn't really think a lot about his appearance when he gets up in the morning. He just happens to apply a lot of paint every day. It's nothing big to him.
You can roll perception now if you want.
Well, I sure would like to, but you know how these sort of things goes. That's a 2. Yeah, it sure is a 2. Okay.
I will give you one more, since the way he's casting it is not actually quite dim. Dropping a part of a magical glamour is not a dim process.
Well, then it's a 2. Still, because that was my first
I
roll.
said you get one more.
Alright, I'm doing. It's a 15. Okay.
There is one thing about his colors. And while they remain consistent with what you've seen, there is just one issue with them. Firstly, the clothing looks perfectly fine. It looks perfectly feasible. It does not look like it fits his art style. It's very beautifully made, but it still looks like Ghibli clothing. He, however, looks washed out. Colors that would have been vibrant and pretty even in the 3D model and should be just these beautifully stained colors are faded and washed down like watercolor that's dried for way too long or wasn't applied heavily enough. Whatever process you use to refresh yourself daily, he has not done in a very long time. Even his lines look faded. And you're not sure why.
Uh, um, yeah, the he's stammering. He's tripping over his words. I didn't. It's cool.
I would love if my browser wasn't glitching at the moment. I don't really want to see this hogging half of my screen. Continue, continue. I'm
Mm,
having a UI issue.
we hate
Go
to see
ahead.
it. I don't know. I guess I didn't expect to see this. I didn't expect anything tonight, apparently, but I guess I never really noticed.
No,
I-
but they notices.
Is is this you? Of course, the one before I know it's you, but is this the full you?
He looks conflicted as he glances at his now messily painted claws and lines. I believe it is part of me. I do not know if it is all of me. I have been told there is more to me, but I do not know all there is to me. I do know this part though. And you actually watch as he back and forth just kind of snaps the claws to just sort of show at least part of one of his arms going from the hand painted to the 3D and back to hand painted. But I mean, look at this. Do you imagine if I were to go hunting anybody down, they would take this seriously?
That phrase. What was meant for a bit of a gaff, bit of a hey, look at me, how silly I look. There's
Not
a
quite how silly he looks, but continue with your statement.
you get it.
Why is Task Manager not loading? What's the issue here?
I'll say there's a dusty mirror somewhere in this office. Otto looks back and just sees himself. Yeah, yeah, they don't really take you seriously very often. Or they wouldn't is what I.
Discord. Discord, can you load, please? I would
Oh,
love not to have everything freezing up at the moment while I'm in the middle of a thing.
I,
Sorry, folks, we're having some technical difficulties. My browser is currently having what one might call a corporate meltdown.
are you using Firefox at least?
No, not just the browser. I mean my screen.
Oh, very fun.
I would love Discord to be a thank you. 23 is a wonderful thing, and actually, is that the right number? Is it 8 or 9? Oh, who is going to bed?
We don't know.
Oh, good night, Winona. Okay, so for a quick moment. Perception is a +8. I thought it was a +9 for some reason. That would have been ridiculous. But
Indeed.
something crosses his face as you correct himself, as you correct yourself, and the arms kind of lower, and you don't even need to insight check to know he looks like he fumbled the bag on a word.
Eh, the what I um eh,
I know
I
there are words. I, it's not. It's
right.
not. It's not that. It's nobody else looks like me anymore where I am from. They do not look like this. They're all uh, bouncy and polygonal and three-dimensional, which is not how I remember it looking, but I don't quite remember what happened to change that. And he reaches up to kind of scratch his head, and you actually see when he moves, it is not in. He does not move like he actually has frames. He moves like a storybook. And wherever I go, if people did see this, I did not get good comments. And Maman did not like that her best hunter was being ridiculed when they went out on jobs. So, uh, she had me decide to put on a three-dimensional face to fit. And that is why when we first met, I was three-dimensional looking. It is the way that she would like me to look. But I mean, she wants me to look a lot of ways, and I can't look all of them. That would require, by the way, an insight check if you decide to read that statement, but not for the reason you think.
Uh, Curious as hell, Otto. That's a 12.
12 is actually good enough. You can hear the trans colors in that statement.
Oh, Otto the ally, not again.
You can just hear for a moment the trans colors in the words.
Otto actually doesn't get it and then recalls something about the lady not having a dress, which is strange. Oh, no, it's you always gotta look a certain way for the certain job. It's something I've learned. I've chosen my profession, so I've really had to change too much. It's just I don't know.
Well, that is mostly what I have liked about some of the tunes I have seen. You do not have to change that. You change clothes for a job interview. This fits. You do not have to change what you are.
Um, I'm going to make a deception check.
Oh no!
Otto is going to agree with Roguefort. I'm going to roll d20 plus 6. That
That's
is
a
a roll of
12.
that is a roll of
Insight.
that is a roll of 6, which due to Silver Tongue is taken as a 10. That is a deception of 16.
That is a +2 on insight. Please bypass that.
You need a 14. That's a
18.
16 plus 2, 18. Yeah, no, that's honestly one of the great things about tunes is that you don't really have to change yourself for other people if you don't want to. Um, you were around Otto when he was probably at his most panicked, most manic, frankly. Uh, there is a twitch that he acquired there. When he was defiantly standing against 1 in a million odds, his hand would just slightly shake from his rapier, and that same hand that he holds just twitches. It's a subtle tell, but you've been around liars enough to know when they're trying to sell you something.
I'm going to roll something. And I need you to roll me perception if you want. This is an optional roll.
I will not. Otto is the buffoon. The buffoon is flummoxed, frankly.
Roll zone.
Is she being mean to you?
Roll zone.
Rolzen is being mean to us.
Roll zone. You were doing good earlier. What happened, pal? The right half of my screen is blocked. Can someone see if Avray is currently online or if it's experiencing a technical
Oh
Oh,
God!
there it goes.
Holy shit!
Oh,
That's a natural 20, baby. +4.
holy!
All right, stealthy look. So what I don't see is
What you don't see is Roguefort glances over to the rapier that is hidden away in his costume, down to the handle, and then glances back up to you. Due
right.
to the nat 20, this is the stealthiest look he's given, to the point the only people that see this are the audience with the screen focusing on it. This is like one of those subtle little animation bits. You would blink and miss it.
Frankly, Otto has been blinking due to some onion cutting ninjas. Um, yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of odd gigs. I even did this laboratory thing once. You never have to change for that. I guess I kind of take it for granted, you know.
There are there are a lot of things that you take for granted in life, even things which you do not expect to. Would you um forgive me for asking? Would you like some assistance in the gestures to the colors and the
Oh,
lines?
uh, I guess. I mean, not sure how to explain the costume thing, but least I can do is at least look my best. Um, Otto uh, goes down to the 2 or 3 buckets of paint that he had pretty much always kept in his hammer space, just in case, and carefully just dipped the paintbrush in. If you got a mirror on you, there's one over here, but it's the behind stuff, you know, it's...
I'm gonna roll him a hammer space. Oh,
Alright.
I always keep one on me. It's just in case I happen to run into a Medusa. You never know.
Yeah, no, it's totally. It happens to me all the time.
Can things stop lagging? Please, browser? Please?
Normally, Otto would probably give more enthusiasm, but his enthusiasm has left
For the evening.
for the evening, not for the void, but you know, just right now.
It's just left for a bathroom break. It'll be back. It'll be
It's
back. They are at a party.
it's taken 5. Come on,
I would love if Discord would
we can just
see
allow.
the issue I've run
Hmm?
into on my end is I went to mouse over the weather bar to see how the temperatures would be, and
Uh
I
oh.
moused over one of the little stories on that weather bar, and it froze that way. So,
You
um,
can. This is now an AI stream. Go into Task Manager.
I have task manager.
Uh,
Well, that's if task manager opens because my screen is it is doing a lot of okay. All right. Task man. Yeah, it says 97% memories being used. I don't want to restart the computer. I do not want
uh, I
to.
can
We can
pause the
scroll through
recording.
task manager and find wherever it is.
I can
Ye-
pause.
Yeah, but the issue is I don't want to restart the computer because I have shit that is unsaved.
Oh,
I
buddy,
have things that are unsaved, and I
sick. Uh oh. Chat. Ghost in the call. How's it going? We. uh, I'm not gonna pause because Mikey could. Oh no!
and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Terrible apologies. Some technical difficulties kept us from continuing, but We're fine now. The screen's refreshed. Nothing is wrong.
In the cut, it'll be smoother than this. Don't worry.
We're just not going to talk. We're just not going to discuss any of the files that I'm going to have to retype. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Mikey.
Thankfully, I named those roles in the roll zone. I can just scroll back and type them.
Oh, thank fucking Christ,
Yeah, no,
pal.
I'm not that stupid. I'm not that stupid. I decided, yeah, you know what? I'll label these. But anyway, so I need to roll a d10 to see if Roguefort can actually get that hand mirror. Get a 1. I'm begging. That's not a 1. He pulls up. It's a rather plain looking thing, and it's another 3D model, clearly. But it's a 3D model of a simple, yet fine looking silver mirror. It reflects the moonlight very nicely.
Okay, yeah, just hold that in the good place. I'm sure you. eh, you seem to know your way around, like, makeup, costume, and stuff.
He sits there for a minute. And you remember the fact that while his costuming was fine, he used a magical glamour for his face. He didn't use any fucking makeup. That was all magic.
Right. Sorry. I,
I was actually hoping you could show me how you presumably do what you were planning on doing.
uh, yeah. All right. Um, Now, unfortunately, Spiffy is not an artist and has never worked with extensively with paint nor watercolor.
Mm.
However, we are going to assume that Otto has that knowledge and the forte to do so. Um, if anyone wants to correct me on how his brushstroke should be, I will simply state that Otto attempts to tutorialize somewhat how he gets his paint on. Um, At one point, after fully renewing his outline, looking perfect shade of black, he goes over to the white paint bucket and goes, "All right, now for this step, you're gonna want to drink the whole thing," and like pulls it up to his mouth to drink it, and just waits for a reaction.
He I am gonna roll insight, but only because that's the number I remember. Because I was gonna make him a different roll, an important roll, but we'll roll insight first because I have to wait for it. I have to wait for the internet browser to load so I can have his character sheet back. Cries.
You've been
Oh no, he fully believes he's gonna drink it, and he almost reaches a hand up, looking aghast that you're drinking it out of a fucking bucket.
uh, and he Otto considers doing the thing where you pour it over the shoulder, but then realizes not only do I not have a full coloring, so it'll just look stupid, it would also ruin Otto's or sorry,
Ollie.
Ollie's shit, which he'd rather not do for any number of reasons.
Yeah.
He puts down the bucket. Okay, no, you actually have to grab one of these. He pulls out a full-on paint roller. um, Otto first coats himself in a quite a bit of white paint, and then uh, hand colors in his black details for both his pants, for his shirt, and for his boots. Um,
That
it's
must be incredibly difficult to do one-handed.
really, it's not too bad. Limbs are pretty stretchy. It's just more of a. Oh, you mean with the just grabby hands?
Mm.
Yeah, all right.
There must be some places you cannot reach.
Uh, yeah, make some vague phrases. Uh, we cut temporarily to Otto taping the roller to a wall and going up against it like a cat scratch.
Oh my god. Like
I
a
sh-
bear.
yeah, I just wanted to put that image in your head. Anyway, we're back to the scene. Yeah, yeah, all right, all right. Uh, gives the roller.
Would love for the browser to finish loading because there is actually a roll to be made here, but it's taking its sweet time.
You can make it up.
I don't want to make up a stat number he has. It's an ability score roll. It's a saving throw.
No, what are you talking? We make things up all the time. It's fine.
We can make up improv moments on the fly. I'm not making up the number.
I'm constantly making up the numbers. This
I mean,
entire
fair and
time.
valid. But also, I'm not making up one of his statistics. I have his sheet. I'm just waiting on it to. Okay, it's loading. It's
This
loading. We're
entire
good.
time, my character's sheet has been a small drink napkin with a Sharpie on. You never knew. They never knew.
Okay, so I'm going to ask because the person I want to ask is in the audience at the moment. Audience member Ike,
Why are you batting your eyelashes?
what would you say is a good save against magical memory loss or suppression? Intelligence or wisdom? Or
Fucking
charisma?
excuse me. Also, I would call it an intelligence save, but also fucking excuse me.
Wisdom save it is. Don't worry about it. So wisdom is a +2. It's a good thing we didn't go with charisma. That's a dump stat. Okay. So he's just kind of he watches you paint for a while, and you can will decide if he needs to make more rolls later. But I assume it with positioning of the mirror, which he is very experienced at holding, by the way. He does actually hold it in a way that you can paint or fill yourself in. It's very nice, and he's very obedient when it comes to your commands. This is not a thing you are used to. It is not comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had to, and I'm gonna make another parent analogy, and I'm sorry in advance. I don't know if you've ever had to like command a parent to do a task before. It's uneasy. Just
Yeah,
just wrong. Yucky feeling in his tum tum.
there's two flavors of wrong to this, but he has no way of noticing or knowing.
Otto can fill in the dots. Uh,
Mhm.
Somehow Otto has a int of 12, and I regret that choice every day of my life. Um,
Intelligence of 12 can make stupid decisions, I say, knowing Belle has a high intelligence and continues to make stupid decisions.
it's yeah, fair. Um, his deduction notwithstanding, Otto just accepts the help. He's too tired to really give a show of it, and he doesn't really want to cost him any more time. Been in here for.
And Roguefort, honestly, he's okay with time. I mean, the party still has a long way to go. It's only just begun, really.
Speaking of which, as the final touches were done in and the lines became clear, uh, the blue seemed to just return to Otto.
Oh, you do not need to paint on the blue?
Oh no, it's how do I put this? You know how it's just a sign of health, I guess. Uh,
None. I'm afraid you will have to enlighten me, monsieur.
um,
He has not left the ground, by the way. He has basically been kneeling this whole time. He has not left.
uh, sorry, just weird seeing you on the ground like that.
Oh, no, I'm used to this. It's fine.
Otto wants to interrogate that later. Right. Uh,
I mean, you two are in a private room. If anybody was going to try and interrogate Otto earlier, I mean, he's allowed to interrogate,
he
but that
does.
is up to you.
I think it's no. Wait, it's too much. We still got to get to the bowling arc. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, it's like how for animals, like mammals and stuff, like dogs and cats, whenever their like nose is kind of wet, it's supposed to be a sign of like their health or whatever. Like it means they're
Yes,
not
I do know
sick.
that.
Well, some tunes, mostly those that look they got a certain color to them. Some people call it their signature. Uh, I just always called it my blues because it sounded kind of funny. It returns to you. Doesn't really make
Why
much
did it
sense
have
to
an
me.
asterisk thing?
Because I love asterisk things.
No, no, the bot thing. We're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
ignore that though. That was a roll of 15. You can
Ooh.
continue explaining. I'll get to what he finds out with a self-medicine check in a minute.
I was about done. What are you doing?
We'll continue.
No, I was just about done speaking. That's all I had to say on the matter. What
Well, he's just kind of inspecting his own faded, oddly washed out, and dull-looking colors in comparison to your nice blues and blacks and whites, all stark and freshly painted and clean, and yet he looks all dried out. And
uh,
as he's listening to you, and you know he's listening to you because of the way the cat ears are kind of turned. He doesn't have cat ears, but they do the little turning thing toward you.
mhm.
That he's kind of poking and prodding at bits of color on his arms and shoulders. He also turns the mirror on himself for a moment just to have a glance at it.
uh, Monsieur Roguefort,
It is Monsieur. The N is about silence. Yes, what is it?
you've never had like a spa day for yourself, have you?
Spa?
His face,
You don't need an insight check to know that the way he tilts his head, he has not heard the word.
spa, SPA, spa.
Spa? Like ska? The music?
Otto's face has never seen more depression and despair as someone who knows what ska is, but someone who does not know what a spa is. This is coming from someone who likes ska, by the way. It's a cell phone. You know what, and it doesn't look like Otto is like about to play this up for a joke. He just looks weirded out and concerned in a way that bit unbecoming. Um, no, dude, it's like a spa, like a treatment center. They do like well, most places in for like humanoids are more non-toon likes real kinds. There we go. Um, typically they do like massage type stuff. Occasionally do stuff for the skin. You know the pores and stuff. I don't really know how skin works. Uh, but
Close but no cigar, Roguefort. Nice try, though.
most spa places are supposed to be like, you know, for me, it would be, getting the recoloring done, making sure my lines are sharp, a bit of eraser work.
Eraser work?
Yeah, yeah, no, technically speaking, the stuff underneath is, people, I, I don't know if it's a diagnosis, but they say it's like a pencil drawn, like, colored pencils.
Ah,
Um,
I have heard of that, yes.
yeah, uh, not the most high quality colored
You have
pencils,
to
but
get repainted?
yeah, people don't typically talk about it because it's kind of like upkeep stuff. It's like getting a haircut, basically.
And he just glances at himself again. Pinches a few of his claws. Hmm.
You know,
Is sitting in an armchair reading considered a sport day? Because I do not believe I have been retouched like that before.
and he's laughing like it for the first time in a pretty tense or at least emotionally deep
Charged.
conversation,
Charged conversation.
charged conversation. He just laughs. He doesn't really know what's so funny about it, but can't do much else but laugh. No, it's just a day where you don't work, you just go to a place where they massage you, they, do body stuff, hot stones, cucumbers on the eyes. Frankly, I can't remember the specifics of it, and I couldn't be bothered. Sometimes
You
shampoo,
see the way his
conditioner,
ears twitch and he's nodding like he's
hair.
listening? There is not a light on. Which is Normally, there are lights on. Normally, he's very processive and into the conversation, processes everything, and retains everything. You are telling him about this, and the light has been left on the porch, but whoever is behind the porch is not there currently.
Okay, Otto's gonna do a test on that. Yeah, no, Spada, you go over, you get the handgun, you get the, rocks, you get the soap. Yeah. And just sees if there's any reaction to throwing in the word handgun.
Oh, you have a handgun on spa days too? I was wondering about that.
Massive facepalm. So that was a test. You. Well, I'm not gonna say you bombed it, but.
It is a test of self-defense if you are ambushed by an enemy, no?
We need to
After
get
all,
you.
you can never be too careful. You could be attacked at any moment.
Oh.
That was not the correct answer,
It was
was it?
your answer. It wasn't incorrect. It's subjective, but
But because it was
it's.
my answer, it was incorrect.
No, it's just revealing, I guess.
Of what?
Uh, Otto puts the tins on it. All the paint dries off the brush. Grabs the roller, puts it all away from his hat, and pats it back onto his head. You know when you go about your daily life and you see something that they do that you just don't do?
Mm,
Like when I tried to explain spa, it was a foreign concept. People have to, occasionally carry around weapons and self defense stuff. It's not a crime free world, but to live your whole life ready for an attack isn't has that been good for you? I don't mean to pry. I just have you
he's
thought
not
about it?
he's not going to lie because he physically cannot, but I'm still going to roll him deception.
Sure. I love it.
So you can insight check that if you dang well please.
Otto is
Yeah, I figured as much. That's an 8.
that's a name. Sure. Let's see if Otto can beat an 8. No, he cannot. It's a 4. Um,
How? A 4?
as a joke.
Okay, so repeat the question that Otto had asked.
Um, basically asking, is that good for you? Like, can that be good for you?
Well, no, it is not good, but it is necessary to me.
A hitched eyebrow raises up.
The places that I work, the place that I. His mouth almost looks like it wants to say something else, but instead says, the place that I live is any moment could become a threatening one. There is no rest, especially not in my line of work.
Hmm.
Perception check, by the way.
All right.
It's not for him, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, that intrigues me. An uncharacteristic 18.
The ethereal swarm that has been staying on his person, mostly staying under the cloak, they, for the most part, acted uniform to Roguefort, as the swarm should.
Mimics, yeah.
Not necessarily. You are the only one to see the looks they give each other, which do not look so uncharacteristically blank and bouncy as the googly eyes usually do, but look tired and sad, glancing between each other, then back to Roguefort. Especially the white Strabby, who just kind of folds her little leafy legs over one of his wrists. He does not notice a single bit of this. He's just focused on you. And his look is the vacant, googly look, still concerned for you, mind you, and listening to you, that theirs is supposed to be, but currently is not.
Yeah. Otto's mirth that he had for a second there kind of drops once more. This time, not out of fear or embarrassment. He extends a finger like one would for a bird to perch on it for the white strawbee. Ethereal though it may be, he attempts to make the effort.
You know what? You can make a choice here.
Okay.
You can either roll animal handling or persuasion. Each one will decide how you are treating the Strabby.
Gonna go with persuasion for obvious reasons.
Treating it like it's sentient, wise choice.
he the way that they looked at each other just felt a little off. That is a default 19 due to Silver Tongue.
The white Strabby, he just sort of blinks at that, and for a moment you almost see that traditional wide-eyed, googly wonder look that dinner critters are always described to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a universal description to them, even if you don't know them. They are just pet rocks with eyes, essentially. Always bouncing, always wide-eyed. There's never a single light on, at least to the inexperienced. But the eyes glance up to you and blink, and the Strabby kind of actually glances between Roguefort. Roguefort actually does glance down for a moment because he can feel the sort of consciousness ping of, huh? Like there's the feeling of confusion that travels between the swarm, and he just glances down. And you hear a little bit of something. You hear, of course, the little sounds of the Strabby making some strange little, you know, Strabby, Strabby shivers to Roguefort. And you hear Roguefort answer back similarly quiet. Hero, 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 forte. And he points. But he doesn't point at you. He points at the Strabby, and he also tilts his head confused. But the Strabby does indeed walk away from him and go corporeal, and it sort of boing, hops up onto your finger. It feels as it actually feels as light as a big strawberry would.
Okay.
Just stares up at you.
Make sure that the strawberry is comfortable in his gloved hand. Sort of.
And it gets comfy, but it looks at you curiously. "Ah?"
Otto is looking with the eyes of a inspector, of someone who's trying to see fault. Um, he will peer down and sort of tilt his head to lower it, just so that he can look for any, not imperfections, but concerning developments, any bumps that shouldn't be there, discoloration, just anything wrong.
The Strabby's watercolor look in comparison to Roguefort's is healthier. Granted, it is, of course, it would look. The one thing about it being a watercolor creature is this one, in comparison, does not actually have the white paint behind it,
Mhm.
which means the difference between ethereal and corporeal is almost unnoticeable to the white Strabby because the white is non existent. You see the way these painted black and red dots for the seeds float in lines. You see the way the outlines float and the way it moves. And again, it also moves in that storybook fashion as he does. But the eyes retain that big pupil instead of the tiny ones. And after a moment, it sees you lower your head down and tilt your head toward it, and she sort of tilts her whole body and face forward and mimics your squint with her eyes, as if trying to look at you too. With
Otto,
that, however, I would like you to make another choice.
okay.
Are you looking in the physical way or in the non physical way?
I think Otto sees that it's similar to him. He understands that it's, sketch. It's a watercolor. There's only dots. There's only googly eyes. He can't really,
Watercolor with brighter and healthier colors than Roguefort.
certainly, but there's not much he can really see. Um, he looks at the strawberry as a concerned friend. If that makes any sense to you.
You can make me one of two rolls in this instance. You can make me an insight check or an arcana check.
I will choose Arcana.
As the
And
Strabby actually takes a few slow, almost cautious steps toward you as it's looking at your face further.
let me see if there's any way that I can enhance this roll. I don't think I can. No, I don't think I can bardic inspiration myself.
And Roguefort actually almost playfully tries to warn you, careful, she tends to bite. But the Strabby doesn't seem
Ow!
to.
I rolled a stinker as a 5.
You can choose to roll insight then. The Arcana roll failed, so you won't learn anything with Arcana. But insight is still an option.
You have -1 wisdom. Please, Otto. Just thank you. 18.
The Strabby is looking back at you, concerned as well. Curious, almost skeptical of the look you're giving her. And there is something to the Strabby's behavior that does not traditionally reflect what you've heard about dinner critters. Dinner critters in a swarm tend to act very uniform. Not completely in habit, but there's still a synchronization to their behaviors. Personality, so to speak. It doesn't overwrite their instincts like what they hunt or what they eat or where they live. It just, personality wise, they will echo one another. This is not echoing Roguefort. The Strabby is behaving in almost its own way, but still not quite, because for a moment, you can see Roquefort also kind of trying to look between you and Strabby because you are having an intense stare down at the moment, and he looks comically clueless for a moment before he asks, Blanca? And the Strabby blinks and the eyes go wide again. What is it you were looking for? Darling? And the Strabby just kind of turns, just sort of stares at him for a moment. If there's any kind of exchange, you don't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But Roquefort's just kind of staring at her confused, and she glances between him and you, and him and then you, in that sort of bouncy sway that dinner critters are traditional to. Granted, it's still watercolor storyboard mode, it's storybook mode, so it's not all the frames are there, but you can see the motion of sway. She's a little more animated than he is, but not quite. And then she glances back up to you. Robbie! And just sort of curiously, whoop, hops on your hat. Oh, she just wants to play. Okay, that makes sense. And she's just kind of kneading and tugging at your hat slowly. With your insight, though, she did not have the mood to play before. She's faking. But Roquefort has bought it.
Otto doubts his own perception of this. Uh, as foolish as he can be, he has his moments, but even then, Roguefort is believing this. Roguefort. The only time he got fooled was tonight. Lightning does strike twice, though. And he
And as
just.
you're thinking this through, you're just hearing a little rah, rah, as she's just kind of, you didn't recall Strabby being described as having a mouth, but you were feeling little sharp tugs at the hat like something's trying to chew or tug on it. There is a mouth on the Strabby somewhere.
Concerning. Uh, yeah, sorry, just.
Blanca, careful. You don't know how fragile that is. Come on. And she just kind of blinks up and just says, "Ah." No, come on.
Otto kneels down, like bows down to let the hat sort of just.
Ah. And the Strabby actually whines a little as you do so. But the raspberries are also just echoing, and the others are starting to echo Roguefort at least a bit, just in their own little voices. You can hear Raz, Rasby, Rasby. And you can hear the little whispers of the Score, Scorpet, Scor, 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 of the little scorpion that's hiding under his cape, the little score pepper. But Raspy's just, the poor Strabby's just, "Hmm." And Jen just, takes your hat and hops off.
But
No, 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 not a toy. And just sort of yanks it back toward Rover. No, give it. But hops out of reach before its claws can grab. No, give that back. Reaches again, hops again. And
uh,
hops on a table. Roquefort darts for it again, hops on his head, and hops past him.
uh, can Otto attempt a slick grab in this
Yeah,
moment? Uh, what do I roll for slick grab? Assuming sleight of hand.
dexterity.
Okay.
Or acrobatics, one of the two.
I will take that acro roll because boy, that's a 7. My third 7! Yay!
You reach, but you almost reach too soon. And it's almost slow motion the way she lands on your hands and then hops off.
I've never been styled on before by a strawberry, and I will not have it happen again.
And
With
she lands on the desk and is currently perched on the hat, and you realize something about the anatomy of a Strabby.
hmm,
It's, of course, it will be wrapped up soon. This is about the end of it. It's kind of like a land squid. It walks on the leaves, but somewhere at the center there must be some kind of mouth or something that grips because she is holding it under the leaves.
okay.
So if you know a strawberry, you know the green patch it has at the top.
Hmm.
You think there's something at the center of that maybe you don't see it, but it's probably functioning like a beak.
Okay.
And she just kind of shakes herself a little like "Ra, da, da, da," and still passes you a look before hopping to a nearby mannequin that is sitting.
I want to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
Okay,
Uh,
cool. Remind
for
me what kind of save that is.
no, here's why I want to use that.
Mm,
A creature with an intelligence score of 4 or less isn't affected. Do you
okay.
see where I'm going with this?
Sure. Tell
Okay.
me what it is.
Please make a wisdom saving throw for the Stobby.
Wisdom saving throw. And you said, what was that on the intelligence?
A score of 4 or lower.
I get to make the wisdom save.
DC of 15 to beat.
Oh, that was the wrong chat. That one won't count.
Put it the hell.
It would have been a 19, but boy, wrong chat doesn't count.
That is the rule. It's basically off the table. 17. Damn. It
You,
succeeds.
how do you cast it? What's the joke you tell?
Uh, God. I can't. I'm trying to think of a one liner. I guess the hat's off to me this time.
The
Instead of
Strappy gives you a gleeful look. It just shakes your head at you taunting like rah rah rah. Now, the spell didn't fail. Obviously, it was cast on something that could comprehend the joke. But the save was successful. So you do learn something when she saves it, only because you were the caster. This is not noticeable to anyone that is not the caster. Clearly, even if it wasn't much, there was a mind to affect.
Okay. Glad I
And
thought of
she
that.
hops to another mannequin, and Roguefort appears to be crouching down and ready, so I'm gonna make him a chick.
Oh, buddy.
Because she's taunting you at the moment, and she's not focusing on him. Dexterity, we're gonna go with acrobatics, actually, that's a +4. That is the wrong thing.
I believe in you. Yeah.
A 16 just meets the thing to catch her because she's size tiny. And you just hear a little squeak like a squeaky toy. Just as he catches. Gotcha! Alright. And and he tries to tug the hat and she maintains her Blanca, give. And you watch this little tug of war happening as he's holding her with one hand like a misbehaving child and the other's trying to carefully coax the beret away like a cat has
Yeah.
something.
You're doing it the wrong way.
Uh,
Just, are they especially ticklish, or do they got anything that, like, makes them go bleh?
mm, not Blanca, no. No underside.
Huh. Well, uh, I'm not sure what. Yeah, I'll do this. Otto just tears it off. If it uh puts a tear in his hat, he's fine with it.
Roll me a strength check and we'll see if it does.
That is just
And I'll roll her an opposed strength check.
a flat 20.
Uh-huh, same here.
13. Unlucky number, baby. 4.
Thankfully she is not that strong. You just have to tug and it's gone.
He
Yeah. And
writes it
she actually does do it. Yeah.
writes on
And
his
for
head.
a moment, you don't even need the perception check. You can see that it's the same color as the rest of the green, but there is a beak hidden between all the legs.
Just wondering how that grabbed it. Uh, Sorry if I was weirded out there. I never really seen. Well, I haven't seen many data critters, but the one that I heard about or seen from you, they don't typically. Well, it's not sentience, but they got a
Mhm.
level of smarts.
Oh, why, thank you. I've trained these very well. Isn't it right, darling? He reaches up and the strap just kind of goes, ah, and gives him a look. And he kind of looks down and he goes, "Hmm? Oh, was that not what he meant? Uh-uh. He wasn't all that
No,
training?
uh,
Ah.
no, Roguefort, the the way I interacted with them, uh, I wasn't trying to coax a pet out. I'm not good with pets. I'm good with people.
And I need to roll him a wisdom save.
I'm very glad I came up with that line in the nick of time. I was excited for that one.
I keep typing it wrong. God bless America.
It's midnight, folks. We had a
It's 11.
what? Roguefort. Can I argue that's bardic inspiration?
I'm s- Let's ask the audience. Audience, would you like to give Roguefort another shot?
Can we just give him a chance? Give peace a chance. Yeah.
Audience members? All right, he gets advantage because the audience decided. D20 plus
I
2. And
told you
I
the
think
ghost would
Charlie
come and
did
play.
plus 2.
7, 9. Oh, I mean, if I do a
Would you
bardic,
like to use your bardic
I
inspiration?
would. Okay, 13. Unlucky, baby.
Let me roll a 1d2.
Okay.
1 is the DC is passable. 2 is the same number. again.
I'm not saying a thing.
There is a moment where he kind of he looks like he wants to dismiss your comment. Please. I picked up my swan from the middle of the wild. None of these critters have any consciousness to them but mine. And of course some of their own as natural critters. They have the consciousness of course, parasitic creatures, as they do. And he kind of, as he says that, he glances down at the Strabby, who's looking up at him sympathetically. Poosh, I am only going to give you one hint. That is the incorrect response to have these specific dinner critters.
I was about to say it. This is not a. Right. Sorry, just new to this whole thing.
But then again, and he kind of lifts up Blanca, as he's called her, and she sort of folded herself up all pouty in his claws. "Ah, you are nibbling me, and you tend to nibble me when you're not satisfied. Isn't that right, Blanca, darling?" And she's just sort of grumbling, and you can very slightly see the beak is Nog on his licorice hands. And he just sort of reaches one other claw in there just to separate her beak, and it just starts gnawing on his finger.
Careful, she'll get a taste for you.
And Blanca stops gnawing and just. Then again, it is. Hmm. I'm gonna roll him deception to see if he can lie.
And for the
Welcome back. Everything okay?
this 12 FPS is brought to you by Discord shitting the bed. Discord shitting the bed for when your cool moments need to die.
I am making him one other, but this is not a roll for a wisdom save. This is a self deception.
That's hard.
But I mean, I have. My swim has not always been the same. It is an ever changing thing. And it's not important. It's not important. And the Strappy looks to say something, but he just tucks her back under the cloak, and she just sort of stares at him with those big sad eyes again. Before staring at the rest of the swarm, and the rest of the swarm kind of just cuddles in on her under the cape. Partly corporeal, partly not. What
Ah,
matters is,
hmm?
are you feeling any better?
What do you mean? Oh, from uh
Well, I mean, I know I tend to make. I've made plenty of people cry, but I would have. I am sorry that I made you cry this time. And he gets up onto his feet as he says that.
it's fine. It was a
It's not fine.
it was a dumb idea. I mean,
It
misunderstand.
wasn't dumb. It wasn't a bad costume. Was it convincing to me? No, but only because I have had so many people try. And you, at least as far to my knowledge, are not a fae.
Otto pats himself down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I would be able to tell.
Yeah, yeah.
But I apologize that I upset you. It's. I, I've already been on edge with the detailed costumes I've seen, but that and the previous experience with doppelgangers does not excuse me making you feel like that, and for that, I deeply apologize. And he bows, and the Strabby looks like it's trying to sneak up toward his hat before he stealthily grabs it. And then, what the fuck?
That was the strawberry. That's the noise it made.
I'm
Uh,
going to ignore the copious amount of claws at my door. And instead, he carefully grabs the Strabby and again shoves it back under his cloak. And the rabbit just goes, "Arr, I will give you your toy when we get back. All right?
Stop.
Mm."
You don't need the bow. I apology very much accepted. It was a mistake by me and a little bit of a mistake by you, but somehow,
It was not a mistake by you. You
eh,
said there was a jest, yes?
of course, but I should have known that you've.
You would not have known. You wouldn't have.
I could have. I mean, if I.
You would not have. I would not have told you unless the situation called for it. There are a lot of things I usually am not allowed to disclose, or I'm trained not to. That being one of them. But I should have remembered the nature of a costume party. The fault is mine and mine alone. And as he walks over and he picks up the Roguefort costume and holds it back up to you. Now, would you like help in putting this back on? Can the cats fucking stop?
Hold
That
on.
was an above board question. That was not a.
That's just a true fact. Well, first off, no more bowing. Can we just apologize like normal folks?
That is a normal apology from me.
Shakes his head and just brings him into a hug.
But I will not bow if that is what you wish.
Gives him a pat on the back.
You hear something like a hard material pinching another hard material. And goes, what? And he glances down at his cloak, and one of the Scorpinos has pinched his backside and clicks the little pepper claws and goes, Daniel.
Assuming they ain't happy with you.
No, it is not that they are not happy. But yes, I do recognize that. But and he kind of looks, and you can hear more of the little dinner critter grumbling on Roguefort's part as he dissolves from common into something else for a brief moment, and then turns back. Yes, I'm aware. I will have to try and not be so formal. It is a habit, a difficult one to break, and probably one that I have broken before, but I will have to learn to break again.
As he's starting to speak, Otto has been wandering around this vacant office, just scrounging. I
Uh,
want to have something happen. I don't know if this is an acceptable ending. There's probably a spare like Ollie uniform here, right?
Roll me an investigation check. We'll see what you find.
No, I
Oh,
said
you're not gonna find a uniform, but
I,
roll me investigation
I conveniently said no in the chat, but that's a 15
because
somehow.
I was told. Allow me to roll a coin flip.
Oh boy.
You do find something, but it's not a uniform. It is a little carved statue
Eh.
with little blue gems for eyes and carved in the shape of a monkey. I would like for you to not make me a wisdom save, but a wisdom check.
Raw wisdom. You got it. 9.
You want to pick this thing up.
Yeah, no. Otto sees this and like, oh wow, what's this? And just goes to pick it up.
Do you pick it up in the moonlight?
Uh, assuming that there is enough
There is
area.
enough.
Yeah, no. He picks it up and just tries to look at the moonlight. I mean, he can't really see very well, so might as well
I'm
inspect
going to
carefully.
roll. Do you decide who you were pointing the statue at when you were putting it in the moonlight, or do you want me to coin flip?
Oh no, he is inspecting it by its gems. He's looking directly at it.
Cool. So you do that. Make a wisdom save.
Sure thing. Am I being Jumanji'd? Question.
No, you'll see what happens.
16 somehow.
You feel like something wants to happen when you shine it in this specific way and look into its eyes, but you shake it off. Roquefort instead walks up and goes, What are you looking at? And he turns it, and now I need to make him a wisdom save.
No, honey.
1d20 plus 2.
Oh Christ, 18.
Oh,
Uh,
clearly it is something of
immediately he
some.
puts it down, eyes downward onto the table. Nope, that's
You want to hold on to it, actually.
what?
You would need to make a wisdom check if you want to put it down.
Okay,
Just a check, not a save.
gotcha. Either way, that's still
It is just a mild compulsion to hold on to it.
16.
You put it down. You feel like you want to hold on to it and keep looking, but it's just like, no,
Nope.
no. You know what? Common sense outweighs curiosity in this instance.
Okay, hold on. Otto is going to just fully give up on understanding. This is the moment in the episode where the characters have gone through so many things. I think Otto is just going to, like, leave this be another mystery. He's learned too much today.
You say that.
What just happened? What's that roll?
Roguefort's picking it up.
Roguefort!
What? It is clearly something of some sort of strange energy. You felt it, eh?
Yes, obviously I felt it. I'm not a... Well, okay, I am a little bit of a dingus, but... It's a... something. It's trying to do something, right?
Trying to. You were looking at it. What would it do to us exactly? As he holds it up again.
I don't know.
Not in the same way you did. He's just holding it in the way of like he's adjusting his hold on it against himself.
Yeah, no, it's just... I don't know, I never really bothered to question Ollie about all of his stuff, but... It's something, right?
Must be something.
Can we just... I think I got a few costumes back in my hat. I don't think I want to do the Roguefort stick again. So
Could you roll insight on Roguefort
I would quite like to.
as he's setting the statue back down?
14.
He does actually look sad when you say that, but he appears to recompose himself to try not to show that he's sad. But he does not do it in a very subtle way.
Otto gives him a really kind of look, like, come on. Just
If you would like to, I do have parts to a costume in my Hammer space.
tilt head down, knowing squint.
He reaches down and he pulls up. It looks like it almost looks like a deer head at first. But it has a face that is a mixture of humanoid and simian, painted in beautiful bright colors, brown, red, blue, and white, with these eerily hand-painted wooden human eyes and a serene smile. The antlers are, by the way, fucking huge. How did that fit in his hammer space?
Otto's done worse. What?
You could be the forest god.
I could.
You are tall enough.
Looks at his lanky kind of body. They look like a something or another. Hold on. He finally grabs the costume off the ground, the Roguefort costume, of course, and just once again in the same cartoonist fashion throws it onto himself.
Oh,
Adjust it a little bit, before casting a cantrip.
Mhm.
He casts Prestidigitation and causes a small little effect to play. The eyes Google menacingly.
actually looks like his cheeks smile at that, though the mouth is obviously not present.
Oogity boogity boogity boogity. He's just doing a little pose.
He kind of tilts his head at you for a moment, and I'm going to roll him another self-deception to see if he can lie to himself or persuade himself that he doesn't want to imitate that back at you. He's
share with the
searching for him,
class.
and then he turns his head. He tilts his head forward and goes, boogity, 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 boogity.
And they just start going back and forth. Um,
And I assume it keeps going that way until Roguefort actually does start laughing and snorting.
just Otto just kind of he just fully breaks. Hold on, it's not that funny. Stop. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be funny. Shut up. It's not. He's like putting his hand on his face, just like stop. It's a stupid joke. Hold on. Let's just get a stupid class. Yeah,
I'm
you're.
going to roll him something else.
Oh boy, no. Stop.
This is actually another wisdom save, believe it or not.
Oh, I know what it's related to. Please don't. Just adoption papers are so tedious. Okay, we're good. 13.
You do not see the mouth, but in a moment of almost uncharacteristic goof, you feel something lick your hand.
I mean, that just. I cannot do a very loud laugh. It is very much late.
No, my ribs are hurting. My right
Yeah,
rib
no,
hurts.
he
Owie.
breaks. Um, I'll say they spend charitably the next like 5 minutes recovering from their own goof. Uh,
And the swarm does brighten up. Some,
uh,
not completely.
I'll say since I want to rush to a ending.
Yeah, yeah, we are at the ending. And I do have a description for the swarm, but you go first.
Uh, well first, what does Roguefort wear out to the party once they exit?
He puts his costume back on.
Of course.
He just took off the wig and the helmet.
Oh
And then he
goodness,
put on the magical glamour to show his face again. Look, he liked the look.
it's a good look.
It is a good
Um,
look.
I think Otto, through his own charisma, personality, and a little bit of the sippy juice, I want him to be able to convince, convince Roguefort for a spa day.
Roll me
Um,
persuasion with advantage.
oh boy, I love fresh
And you get
champagne.
advantage from the dinner critters.
Thank you, dinner critters. Appreciate you. Thank you for the advantage, dinner critters. That was a natural one. Uh,
Yeah.
5, which is a 10, 19, as always.
He thinks in a moment and nods. Which means yes, spa FPS in the future.
Hehe. Canon.
And as you persuade him to this, and you return to mingle with the party, the ethereal dinner critters, of course, congregate underneath of this incredibly roomy and beautiful cape. And honestly, it looks like the thing that would keep you warm on a winter night. It's a good choice. He made a good choice. But there's sort of, as the white strappy is looking out on you and on the crowd, there's just the smallest thing, a voice. Just a voice. You don't normally get distracted. And the white strappy turns. No mouthpiece is moved, but turns toward the scorpion, the little jalapeno pepper scorpion. Why the misbehavior? Oh, um, no reason. Blanca, you are not a good liar. I know. And you cannot tell me that wasn't a lie. I know. Just let Roguefort I have a good night, okay? We don't need to worry him about anything. Is it him? And one of the claws stealthily points to Otto. One of the leaves swats at the claw. Hey! I was just saying. Enough. The boy doesn't need to get involved either. It's fine. There is no problem here. If there is one, you just want me to let you worry about it like always. There is no problem here. All right. If you say so. All these years spent as a Scorpion and you still have the hiss. Could you never lose that? All right, terribly sorry, like you didn't lose your accent. And he just scampers back off to the rest of the swarm, and the white strappy just turns and watches Otto mingling. And then glances back up to Roguefort, who for once looks a little more pleasant, but from the connection of consciousnesses, it's clear he's still upset that he did, in fact, hurt Otto in that way, and he just hasn't said much else on it. Because why would you bring up the matter twice, right? And she just sort of, the little Strabby just sort of, "Hmm, one of these days, one of these days we'll break you out. Just not today." And she just nestles back under the cape and watches the party, while the other two continue to mingle. And the scene fades into the crowd, into smiles and laughter and clinking glasses. And elsewhere, there is similar celebration in other houses, and somewhere deep in the woods is a loud cackle. And as the camera pans, it returns to the moon and the forest just outside the windows. Those big, beautiful windows that the topmost floor has. And there is a very, very small distant voice. Look! And the scene ends. Fin.
Wait, is that the end of the movie? For a meta thing, the camera shifts back. It's Otto and Roguefort watching the movie.
Uh, I
That's
believe that would be called a cliffhanger.
no, they can't just end it there. They're supposed to explain everything. There's not going to be a sequel. This will never perform well at the box office. What are you thinking?
I'm not sure that implies a sequel, mon
Oh,
ami.
come on. There's going to at least be a spin-off. I'm getting my money back. He leaves to get a popcorn, and we finally
We,
get to
we,
go
we
to
are not
sleep.
making a complaint. We are not making a complaint about
We're
those
making a
tickets.
complaint.
Yeah, young man. And he gets up and storms off.
Young man.
Get back here at once. We are not making a complaint to the staff. They have enough to deal with.
Oh, God, what a stupid pair of dum-dums we have.
A stupid pair of dum-dums and a sentient group of bugs trying to keep this poor dum-dum alive. Don't worry about what I just said. You're fine.
Smile.
Smile. But with that, the little costume mishap blends into the rest of the party, the rest of the evening. The hour fades. With that, we would like to thank our audience for staying with us.
Thank
And to
you,
thank
audience.
you, those in the audience that are not present in the direct attendance, for choosing to listen in. We're thankful for your continued support, and we do hope future stories continue to please or entertain. Hey, sometimes you can't do both. With that, I'm Carmichael,
And I'm Spiffy.
and this has been Toonkind at 12 FPS.
And I ate a bottle cap.
Goodbye!
Oh, sorry. Bye. I did actually once try and eat a bottle cap once. It was a very embarrassing experience, which I will now detail in full. Once